the first portrait is the portrait of Ramesh Balsekar. I'd like to show it to you because it's important that the portraits be seen. I don't know. Tell me if you can see. Yeah. This is my very first portrait. It says it all. You know. It's a book you can read in silence. The mind has to be quiet. This is the very first portrait. And then I traveled for the summer to France. I was still living in New York at the time. And by chance, I met Douglas Harding, which is also one of the portraits I've taken, which is quite well known. Second portrait. And then the third portrait I took, or I don't know whether, yeah, I think it was Stephen Jourdain, who's very famous in France. I don't know if he's so famous here in. He's a prolific writer. He wrote a lot of. He woke up when he was 16. And finally, while I was in France, also known as Amma, who doesn't know Amma? And on seeing those 5 portraits, Arnaud Desjardins, who wrote the foreword of the book and who made many beautiful films on Eastern religion, he said he got this idea of making a book. So in 95, 96, the idea of this book happened. Now I'd like to read a sentence of by Amma, which summarizes what happened for me also. When I embarked on this path, suddenly I realized that I only had one life, so I couldn't really go on being a lawyer. For me, it was a bit, in a way, a waste of time because I was not happy as a lawyer, and I felt, my God, I only have one life, and I want to. I really don't want to waste it. And slowly I became really interested in just knowing about who am I and what is the purpose of my life, what is the truth with a capital T. And later when I read all the sages that I met, their writings, they came back on, the purpose of one's life is to get to know this truth. I'm just going to read a sentence written by Amma right now. There is one perennial truth which remains unchanged beyond the passing of time. To realize this truth is the purpose of human existence. Life can be fulfilled only through this realization. So that was very clear to me, that however crazy for me it was to leave, financial security to search for love and to open my heart, because I had slowly had realized that I was full of stress and full of conditioning, and I felt that my heart was closed. And so that's why I went to India. I said, India will help me to open my heart. And when I met one of my most important teachers, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, I bowed in front of him and I asked him, please, I cannot do it alone. I cannot take my heart out and open it, so please help me to open my heart. This is Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. He talks about himself as the dirty beggar, but he's actually an incredible yogi. He never really spoke to me very much. The first time I met him, he asked me to repeat his name. He says, do you know what's my name? I said, yes, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. And he made me repeat his name 3 times. And he said, well, whenever you need me, you just repeat my name. And then later, the next year, when I met him again, I wrote him a letter telling him a bit of my story, and that's when I told him to please help me to open my heart. And during that month, I was in Tiruvannamalai. This was one of the last year that Yogiji was giving darshan, because he passed away a year later on Shivaratri, actually. That's tomorrow, on February 20th. So it's the anniversary of his death tomorrow. I found out I was pregnant, and my son is today 14, but he was conceived in this holy place of